Hello, my miraculous friend. This is Reverend Frances Faden, and welcome to the prayer channel. This is season 1, episode 6, I believe. We're going to be talking about Mary Magdalene. But before we do that, let's take a few deep breaths together. Just get ourselves grounded, get ourselves centered. Breathing in the energy of expansion, breathing out anything that you no longer need. And just coming deeply into the now. And knowing that whatever you're supposed to hear today, that would be most inspiring for you, will be exactly what you hear. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. Well, thank you so much, my friend, for being here today. Sorry I was about a minute or so late. I was having some technical issues going on. Hopefully you can hear me okay and you can see me okay. I am going to light our candle because I forgot to do that. I'm going to light our candle. And I offer this candle to you. May this light help illumine our minds and our hearts as we gather together today. And so here we are, the prayer channel, and we are the community of people who Mother Mary has gathered to help co-create a world of light, love, peace, and joy through prayer. That's why we're here. And every week I'm sharing with you sacred stories and channeled prayers to help you magnify your miracles, because that's what I am all about, is helping you to do that. And one way that we magnify our miracles is we look to see what miracles have already happened that we're aware of, and we study the lives of other miracle workers, and we're going to be doing that today with the beautiful Saint Mary Magdalene. So I'm recording this on July 20th of 2021, and whether you're listening to it this week or you're listening to it in the future, it's all good. But this week is the week of the feast of Saint Mary Magdalene. Her feast day is July 22nd. No coincidence that her feast day is on a master number, the energy of 22, because she is absolutely a master. And today we're going to be talking about the untold story and the miraculous power of this very first disciple. She's called the first disciple, and she is quite amazing. So the first thing I'm going to say is, if you're watching on YouTube, yay, great. Feel free to put in a question if you have one, or a comment if you have any thoughts about Mary Magdalene. You can also join us over on Facebook. We have a private Facebook community that's just for the prayer channel, and it's absolutely free. You're welcome to join. And you can also catch the live stream there, as well as being able to interact, and you can leave questions and comments for me even after the stream. It's just a lovely community that's really starting to grow, and I welcome you. So let me tell you a little bit about my experience with Mary Magdalene and what I consider to be her untold story. And so often when you hear the name Mary Magdalene, you probably have a preconceived idea. The truth of the matter is that she was misrepresented. Let's put it that way. She's been misrepresented by the church from about the time, well, officially, I forget the name of the Pope that first called her a prostitute, but there's no evidence of that whatsoever. And if anything, I think that was an attempt to try to mask just how powerful and amazing of a disciple she actually was and actually still is. Now, I know in modern times, there's a lot of thoughts and there's a lot of books about Mary Magdalene, and was she married to Christ? What was the nature of their relationship? I am not going to go into that because there's so much out there already. I'm going to speak from my experience of knowing her and what I've come to learn about her as a role model, especially for women, to own your power. And then I'm also going to share with you something that I learned when I was living in a spiritual community that Paramhansa Yogananda said about Mary Magdalene, and something that you may or may not know. And so, again, this isn't in necessarily popular culture, popular thought, but I think it's really, really important. So in the time of Christ, he actually had two really advanced disciples. And when I say advanced disciples, I mean two people who really got him, who understood him, and were able to really receive his teachings. And all we need to know about, well, who were the ones, is you look at what happened on Good Friday. Who was at the foot of the cross? We have St. John, who's called the beloved disciple. We have Mary Magdalene. And then we have family members. We have Jesus's mother and other, I think it's called the three Marys that were there. Now, you can argue and say, well, Mother Mary, all of that. I'm just talking about Mary Magdalene, and I'm talking about John, the beloved disciple, the beautiful St. John, who wrote the book of John. Interestingly enough, out of all the disciples, the male disciples, John is the only one who does not die a horrific death. He's not martyred. He's not crucified. None of that happens. And I believe it's because he actually was one with that Christ energy, where he understood it and he was able to transcend whatever his own karma was, that he didn't go through any of the stuff that the other ones did. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the rest of the disciples, but let's face it, when Jesus was being arrested, what happened? We have Peter, who's like, attacking somebody and being violent, which is not his teacher's teachings at all. And we have the rest of them scattered to the wind. And of course, we have Judas, who really didn't get it and who actually betrayed him. And so who is there to be able to witness everything? We have John, but then we have Mary Magdalene. And Mary Magdalene is such a powerful example of what I call the guru-disciple relationship. Now, in our modern culture, we don't really talk about the guru-disciple relationship. It's kind of something from the East. It's something that's not really part of our own culture. And it's a little bit strange, right? We don't really understand it. But because I've gone to India, because I lived in an ashram, because I became a disciple of a great teacher at one point in my life, I understand this, and I can see the hallmarks in Mary Magdalene of that kind of spiritual love. And again, I'm not taking anything away from any of the other stories. If you want to believe them, that's perfectly fine. But there's an intimacy that happens when you follow somebody that is your spiritual teacher. And we don't have words for it here in the West. And so when we see that intimacy, we immediately think, oh, intimacy, I know what that means. And maybe it means that. We have the beautiful example in India of Krishna and Radha. So there's Krishna and Radha loved Krishna. And I believe the story goes that he even becomes her husband at some point. I think that's true. I should probably speak about it because I'm not an expert on it. But the point is, Krishna is an incarnation of the divine, and he comes to people in the form that they need. So he comes as a son to his mother. He comes as a brother to his family members. He comes as a teacher to his disciples. He comes as a friend. He comes in all the different forms. So why not, should he not come? If you need him to come as a lover, why not? So that's why I don't take any issue with it. But I also know that there is this other guru-disciple relationship that surpasses any relationships that we really understand. And I believe that Mary Magdalene had that relationship with him, and she saw him for what he was. And so she's the one that anoints his feet and is preparing him. She's the one that's there at the foot of the cross. And then she is there on Easter morning when he is resurrected. Now, why does he appear to her first? I have a really simple answer. Because she was there. Because she was there. Mary Magdalene was not fooled by appearances, even though her beloved teacher was horribly murdered right in front of her. Painful, awful death. Taken down off that cross, laid in a tomb. Everything was rushed because the Sabbath was coming. First light, first possibility she has, she doesn't stop her dedication. She doesn't stop her service to her teacher. She doesn't stop but asking herself, what else can I do? How else can I help? What else can I do to support my teacher that I love so much? And so she knew that the burial wasn't complete. And she's there first thing on that Sunday morning with the spices, with the things to help continue to take care of his crucified body. And so, of course, the other disciples are hiding. Mary Magdalene is right there. She's right there. And she's not judging by appearances. And so when she goes, she sees that the rock is rolled away and the tomb is empty, and someone appears to her. And who is that? At first, she doesn't recognize him. She thinks it's the gardener. She doesn't know who it is. And then he calls her name, Mary. And she says, Rabbi, my teacher, there he is. And she sees him. And then she is asked to take that message back to the other disciples and to show them that, in fact, what he said has come to pass. Of course, they don't believe her necessarily because they are all in their egos. Why would he come to her? Why wouldn't he come to us? Why would all that stuff that was going on back then. But the thing about Mary Magdalene is that she didn't care. She didn't let approval or disapproval of other people affect her faith. And I believe this is part of how she is so miraculous in her power, is she didn't care about whether you believed her story or not, whether you thought that Christ came to her or not, she doesn't care what you think about her. And over the years, Mother Mary has asked me to work with Mary Magdalene. I've done many channeled message circles with both Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. And I can tell you, she is an embodiment of power and owning your power, owning your spiritual power. And part of that power is not caring what other people say about you, not buying into what people think about your reputation, she knows the truth for herself, and she knows her oneness with the divine. She knows it, and she embodies it. And from there, amazing, amazing powers come. Now I'm going to share a story with you that you've probably not heard before that I found really inspiring. So Paramhansa Yogananda, who I became a disciple of Paramhansa Yoga back in 2003, unfortunately, he's not in this body anymore, but when I was living in the spiritual community, I heard a story that in the Autobiography of a Yogi, which if you've not read, highly recommend that you read it. In the Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda goes back to India in 1936, and on his way back, and I don't remember if it's when he's heading to India or he's heading home from India, but there's a chapter in there about Saint Therese Neumann, and I think you should read that chapter. Saint Therese Neumann was a stigmatist. She was somebody who had the wounds of Christ, and not only that, but every Friday she would actually experience the Passion of Christ as if it was happening to her. That's how one she was with the energy of Christ. She would actually experience it, and she would bleed. I mean, there's pictures that are kind of like scary, but she would have blood coming out, and this is a woman who didn't really eat. She would lose profuse amounts of blood, and then by Sunday all the wounds were gone and she was fine, and then she would have another week, and then Friday it would happen again. Such incredible and kind of mystical, I would say. I don't want to say whether it's good or bad, but just a mystical story. Well, why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because Paramhansa Yogananda said that St. Therese Neumann was a reincarnation of Mary Magdalene. Think about that. That she actually was Mary Magdalene in a previous lifetime. And in this lifetime, now she's gone, but she lived in Bavaria, I believe. And this would have been in the 1930s that this was happening. She was still in that oneness with the Christ energy. Now, why did she go through that particular part of it, the passion? I don't know. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't understand those types of things. But when you see somebody who literally is experiencing what somebody else is experiencing, how could you say that they're anything but one soul, one energy, one vibration? That's how devoted, that's how connected, that's how aligned she is with the energy of Christ. So if anybody ever asks you about Mary Magdalene and you're like, they're like, oh, what do you think about Mary Magdalene? I want you to think about this. And I want you to think about what she means to you. First of all, the energy of empowerment, that she was able to own her power no matter what anybody said. And she's been doing that all these years. She's been blessing people and having miraculous things happen. Lots of stories about her. You can believe them or not believe them. I encourage you to actually connect with her. Connect with her. The 22nd is a beautiful day to connect with her because it's her feast day. And ask Mary Magdalene to reveal herself to you. When she has revealed herself to me, I usually see her in this beautiful, deep red, beautiful robe that she wears. It's like this deep, royal, rich red color. And I vibrate whenever I'm communing with her energy. I vibrate because she embodies the Christ energy. And if you don't believe me about embodying Christ consciousness, think about St. Therese Neumann, reincarnation of Mary Magdalene, embodying. You can't get any more embodied than that, in my opinion. She embodies it. And she encourages us, especially for women, to really embody our truth and embody our faith and let go of worrying about what other people think and what other people say and what other people do. That's really the power, in my opinion, the miraculous power of Mary Magdalene, is she owned herself in a time when women were literally owned by other people. She owned her own energy, and she even owns her story. Even now, the truth is finally coming out. She was never a prostitute. She had definitely had things going on with her, as we all did. But then she met her teacher, and she was transformed by loving that teacher and receiving the love of that teacher. Completely transformed her, and she completely surrendered into that energy and became, in my opinion, a Christed being. Let me put it that way, a Christed being. So let's say a prayer now and see if we can welcome in and connect the energy of Mary Magdalene into our lives. I encourage you to close your eyes and let's see if I hear a prayer that would be helpful for you. Beloved Mary Magdalene, sister on the path, embodiment of Christ consciousness, be with us and help us to feel your power. Help us to channel that power for our own evolution and for the evolution of this planet. Lend us your courage that we may be immune to the thoughts and the opinions of other people, and that we may always, always reside in the truth. Amen. Thank you, my friends, for being here today and sharing some time with the beautiful Mary Magdalene energy. I really encourage you to open up and see if you can connect with her a little bit more and see if she can become part of your spiritual team, because she's just amazing. Now, next week, I'm not going to be live, but there will be another episode. And next week's episode is going to be on how to turn the Hail Mary prayer into your own prayer. I'm going to share that with you. So definitely be here next week, and I'll be happy to share what my process has been like taking this ancient prayer and making it my own. Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me to co-create a world of light, love, peace, and joy through prayer. God bless you. Bye-bye.